But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. Well, I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade. And by doing that...
There's more MAGA civil war brewing as Donald Trump repeatedly attacks Senator Lindsey Graham over a national abortion ban, proving, again, what a loser this issue is for Republicans. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you for all your likes and your comments. I appreciate them all. And let's talk about abortion politics, because you got to be careful what you wish for. The Republicans, at least their base, wanted Roe versus Wade overturned for 50 years. Well, they got it. But it's like the dog chasing after the car. What do you do when you catch up to it? Well, now they're in a mess, and they don't know what to do next, whether a national abortion ban or to pull back and just let the states do it. And Donald Trump himself has been all over the place on it. You know who understood this better than most? It was Chief Justice John Roberts. He's anti-abortion, but he did not want the court to overturn Roe versus Wade. He understood the principle of stare decisis, to keep things all calm and tranquil and continue to have at least some people buy into the legitimacy of the court. But no, 5 members of the court decided to overturn Roe versus Wade. And 3 of those individuals were appointed by Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is proud of that. But now he's living with the political consequences, and the Republican Party has to deal with this in an election year. And Trump is trying to find a position that allows him to gain the support of some of those suburban women who he keeps losing to Joe Biden. So at first he said, well, he supports a 15-week national abortion ban. And then it became 16 weeks because he liked a nice round number. Now it's leave it to the states, which is actually worse than a 16-week ban, because by leaving it to the states, you tie yourself to the unpopular laws in some states like Florida. Here in Florida, Governor DeSantis passed a 6-week abortion ban. Very unpopular. We're talking about in the 20s as far as percentages of the public supporting this. And there is now a constitutional referendum on the ballot in Florida to undo it all and to take it back to where it was before Roe versus Wade was overturned. And Donald Trump said he opposed the 6-week abortion ban. He thinks it's bad politics. So he and DeSantis got a little spat over that. Now he's tying himself to laws like that, because if you say let's defer to the states, well, then you say not only are you okay with a 6-week ban in some states, you're okay with an absolute ban in others, and you're okay with the proposals at the state level to ban interstate travel for women who seek abortion in other states. That is unconstitutional, and it's extremely unpopular, but it's being proposed by right-wing extremists in some states. So this is the mess that has occurred since the Dobbs decision, and Democrats have exploited it to great political gain. I mean, Democrats have outperformed in just about every special election, every election since the Dobbs decision, and you can base your opinions on what's going to happen in November on polls, which is just a snapshot of where we are and a projection of what that means in the future, or you can base it on the actual election results we have seen over the past several months, and it's not good for the GOP. Just ask George Santos and others. But no matter how hard Donald Trump will try to run away from the unpopular positions of the extremes of his party, he has to own it. He's the reason why Roe versus Wade was overturned. He says he's proud of it, so he's talking outside both sides of his mouth. Whether you're proud of Roe versus Wade being overturned or you're trying to find a political compromise, you're going to own the fact that 50 years of precedent was tossed out by a court, including justices who said during their confirmation that they were fine with Roe versus Wade as settled law, that they recognized it as settled law. And then when it came to it, they voted to overturn the principle stare decisis be damned. And now Donald Trump's getting pushed back in a pretty fierce way from his former vice president, Mike Pence, on Twitter. I'm not calling it by its new name. took after Donald Trump for his position opposing a national ban for this new position saying he just supports states' rights. Mike Pence said the following: President Trump's retreat on the right to life is a slap in the face to the millions of pro-life Americans who voted for him in 2016 and 2020. By nominating and standing by the confirmation of conservative justices, the Trump-Pence administration helped send Roe v. Wade to the ash heap of history where it belongs and gave the pro-life movement the opportunity to compassionately support women and unborn children. In the landmark Dobbs decision, the Supreme Court returned the question of abortion to the states and the American people. The American people elect presidents, senators, and congressmen, and a majority of Americans long to see minimum national protections for the unborn in federal law. But today, too many Republican politicians are all too ready to wash their hands of the battle for life. And remember, this was not a spontaneous gaffe by Donald Trump. This was not something he said off the teleprompter or on the teleprompter or in answering a question he wasn't prepared for. This was something that he prepared. He announced in advance he was going to come up with this big abortion policy, and he did. And after great thought and deliberation, that's the best he could do. Just defer to the states. And Mike Pence is not the only person that Donald Trump has to worry about from the right. He's got his former nemesis, then his sycophant, Lindsey Graham, who at first warned everyone about nominating Donald Trump. Remember that tweet he put out that said the following: "If we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed, and we will deserve it." But then he became Trump's golf buddy and one of Trump's most loyal supporters, even reversing his position on funding Ukraine against Vladimir Putin and the Russians, just so he can curry favor with the leader of his party. And yes, John McCain must be rolling over in his grave. But when you're loyal, it's a one-way street, because Donald Trump is not going to be reciprocating that loyalty, at least not if you criticize him. And Lindsey Graham did not criticize him ferociously. I would say what Mike Pence did was way stronger. Here's what Lindsey Graham said. This was Lindsey Graham tiptoeing around it and just trying not to piss off the boss. Quote, "I respectfully disagree with President Trump's statement that abortion is a states' rights issue," he said in a statement responding to Trump. And then he went on and on and on, because he's the one sponsoring the national ban at 15 weeks. Donald Trump then did not take kindly to what Lindsey Graham said. This is just a mild rebuke. And look how Donald Trump rewards Lindsey Graham's sycophancy over all this time. Trump fired back and said the following: "Senator Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Dannenfeiser," that's the head of the Susan B. Anthony anti-abortion organization, "should study the 10th Amendment and states' rights. When they do, they should proudly get on with helping Republicans to win elections rather than making it impossible for them to do so. And I blame myself for Lindsey Graham, because the only reason he won in the great state of South Carolina is because I endorsed him." Notice he's blaming himself. That's, different normally. Lindsey is probably freaking out right now. He's probably crying in his oatmeal. Donald Trump also wrote the following: "Senator Lindsey Graham should spend more time focusing on all the many people being killed because of our now non-existent border and the millions of people dying in senseless, never-ending wars that he constantly favors and promotes, and should spend less time on taking away our great Roe versus Wade victory of sending a complicated and controversial issue back to the states where, according to highly respected legal scholars on both sides, it belongs." I gotta say something there. That's not true. That's not true. He's referring to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who believed that Roe versus Wade should have been decided on equal protection grounds rather than procedural due process grounds, because then it would be a more lasting, more solid base instead of something that could be overturned more easily like it was. And she did not oppose Roe versus Wade. She supported a woman's right to choose. She supported Roe versus Wade, just she thought it should be reasoned differently. And to think that she would be in part of the group, I'm sure he thinks she's part of the group where respected legal scholars on both sides believe it should go back to the states. No, I don't know who he's referring to on that. I can see them on one side saying that. I don't see many people on the other side, the pro-choice side, saying send it back to the states. And then he continues, the Democrats are thrilled with Lindsey because they want this issue to simmer for as long as a period of time as possible. They are destroying our country, and they don't want to talk about inflation, a bad economy, and so forth. Trump is right, though, about giving Democrats a victory, and Democrats hoping that this issue simmers for a while. Yeah, because it's a winner for Democrats. And when those polls get you all nervous and make you think that, Biden's not going to win in November, did they account for Roe versus Wade being overturned and the fact that Democrats have outperformed in every election, just about every election since the Dobbs decision? I mean, one of the reasons why there was no red wave in 2022 was precisely because of this issue. So I think this is going to get worse for the Republicans before it gets better, and they're going to have to figure out a way to deal with this. And I'm sure somewhere there are Republican consultants who are just freaking out over the fact that they've got this issue, this huge issue hanging over their heads like an albatross, and there's no easy way to nuance it. And Trump tried, but already he's stoking division within his party, a party that's already divided, with Nikki Haley and her supporters still holding out, at least somewhat. There was precedent for 50 years of Roe versus Wade, but with appointing these conservative justices who said they would uphold settled law, but then did the opposite. They broke it, and now they own it. So stay tuned. I'm Dave Aronberg, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman. If you like this video, please like it, leave some comments, and if you're interested in true crime, we've got a new network for you. It's True Crime MTN, and I'm the host, so check it out. I'll see you over there, and I'll see you here next time.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.